hibiscus. It comes from Africa. I mean, as far as the smell, it does have a strong smell. But look, this is the rare form. That's rare form. And it gives you the mind, puts you in the mind of potpourri. But it smells nothing like potpourri. Oh my goodness.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It depends on where you are in the world. I'm in the UK, so it's evening. Shalom is in Atlanta, in the United States, so it's still afternoon, about 3 p.m. if I'm correct. Yeah, I visited Atlanta in 2022, stayed for a couple of weeks. I came with my family just to see how it was, and it was really interesting. We had a really good time. Anyway, this is the TNN podcast. You know what we do? We bridge the gap between diaspora and Nigeria. In the case of my guest, he's been bridging the gap already, and I stumbled onto his great work, and I thought, yes, he must be on the TNN podcast. He's what we class a new Nigerian, a dynamic man doing wonders, especially in the agricultural sector. I'll introduce Shallom very briefly to those who don't know him. He is the co-founder, the managing director of AFRIVANA. Shallom is bridging Africa and the Americas through trade, distribution, agriculture, and strategic partnerships. Shallom is known as the Hibiscus King. He is a Northern-Nigerian born entrepreneur, professional athlete. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that. You tell us a bit about that. And an agricultural sourcing, logistics, and distribution company called AFRIVANA, which is run by Shalom. They focus mainly on connecting premium African products, agribusinesses, and investment opportunities with markets across North America, South America, and Caribbean. He specializes, or rather his passion is about creating sustainable agricultural value chains that empower African producers, strengthen food processing capacity, improve export competitiveness, and create long-term economic collaboration between Africa and the Americas. His vision is to help position Africa not only as a source of raw materials, but also as a global hub for premium products, value addition, manufacturing, innovation, logistics, and sustainable industrial growth. He wants to ensure African businesses capture more value within the global economy. Shalom will give us a bit about his core mission, but first of all, let Shalom introduce himself, tell us a bit about his background, especially in terms of Nigeria, how he was brought up, where he was brought up, schools, and how he decided to get into what he's doing. Shalom, thank you for joining us. Please.
That was quite the intro. I think you've done all of it. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the intro, and it's good to be here. mean, like I said, you've kind of said it all, but to keep it short, yes, I'm Shalom Bako, and again, born and raised in Nigeria, and went to school, did all the way to my secondary school in Plateau State until I did then come to the US, finished up my university, played professional sports here, and then decided to go back home and start this,
Shalom,
so,
where were you born? Were you born in Plateau State then?
No, I was born in Bauchi.
Okay.
And so, Bauchi, current day Gombe is my state. It used to be one state, so just Bauchi State, but Bauchi and Gombe are sort of my, what I would call home back home.
Right, and what school did you go to in Plateau?
Well, a couple of schools actually. People who are from Plateau will be familiar with like Kent Academy, which is in Yango, and then some other school in Rayfield, Kina High, which was let me just say a byproduct, if you will, of Bethany Christian, being that it was the same principal that founded that school. So, yes, so yeah, still, Plateau is still very much home as well.
Rayfield is Jos. Rayfield
Yes.
is Jos. I was born in Jos.
Okay.
I grew up around the Bauchi Road area, Dogondutse, and my father he had some friends then Bauchi, like you said, and ever so often we'll get in the car and visit Gombe. So I have memories of Gombe and all of that. So
very nice.
You finished your education in Plateau State, then you moved to the US to read. Tell us a bit about why did you decide the US was the best place to do your university? Where did you first land? How did you manage that? Tell us what happened. Give us a story.
Well, frankly speaking, it wasn't like it was my choice.
Okay.
But really, everything from primary 1 till about SS 1 or 2, all my schooling was done in Plateau State, right? And so from primary 1 all the way. And at some point, my father is a doctor, and he worked with the World Health Organization, and so because of that, he was back and forth between the US and Nigeria due to the fact that the WHO is based in DC. And so that opportunity kind of came by that way, and at some point, my father's health, he became ill, and that was really the primary purpose as to why I came to the US initially. And it actually ties into, frankly speaking, why I do what I do today. And so my father was ill, and he was not expected to live.
Wow.
And so I was picked up from school in Jos to just come, spend whatever time was left with him here in the States. So it wasn't an intentional move, frankly speaking. Right. It was just due to his health and the fact that they just weren't sure that he was going to make it. And so as he continued to get better, the need for us to stay here continued. So at some point it was like, well, we cannot just be sitting here waiting. They have to start going back to school, So that's kind of how it started. And so I just finished off secondary school. And then obviously I got a scholarship to play football. And that got me into university. And so from there, things just kind of evolved. Football became a core part of my life day to day. And, then I started doing tryouts. You hear this team has a tryout, you go there, and the way it works is you show up. It wasn't like any connections or anything. It's just you pay money to go and try out with the team when they have open tryouts, and it's hundreds of people, if not thousands sometimes. And so the coaches just watch you play. You wear beers. It's kind of like going on these marathons, those numbers that they put. So you're just a number,
right?
And so if they call your number, you stay. If they don't call your number, you go. And so I used to do these tryouts, and that's how I made it to the professional level. I just used to attend these tryouts, and I went for a tryout in Chicago with the Chicago Fire, which is the Major League Soccer team there. I got picked up there. Chicago was a little too cold for me, and so I asked to be traded. I got traded to Los Angeles Galaxy, and things just kind of elevated from there. So at some point, I decided, I wanted to just focus on doing business back home, especially, anybody who knows me, they kind of know that I've always been what would I call it? I've always been passionate about our continent. I've always been passionate about home. I always say, even the first day I came to the US, that very first day, I knew I wanted to go back. Literally, my parents, within that first week, I told them I want to go back. And there's this funny thing we say, sometimes when you're young and you come here and let's say you misbehave, and your parents will be like, we'll send you back home. And that was not the threat for me.
You
that
were
was,
eager.
Please,
You said, please send me back.
That was, please send me. And then other things as well, such as, I was used to boarding school from primary one all the way, till I came to the States. I was used to boarding school. So that was the lifestyle I was used to. So now going to school every day, come back every day. Kai, no, it was difficult. It was an adjustment. But I'm grateful I made the adjustment, and at some point I decided that I just wanted to build a business that would take me back and forth.
Shalom. Let's hold that.
No problem. Yes.
Let's hold that thought. Let's go back to Chicago. It was too cold. You got traded to LA Galaxy. It's a cushy life. Playing soccer. I suppose there's money being paid. Why did you decide that, apart from the fact that you have a passion about Africa and bridging the gap, why did you decide, let me put this on pause and then let me focus on business? Tell us how that evolved.
That's a great question. So I think there's a couple of things to put it in context. One, yes, I was good at playing football, but if I would say deep down, I don't know that it was like a true, people have dreams of just playing football and making that a career. That was not necessarily always true for me. I was good at it, and I just wanted to be as good as I can at it. And that goes with most things I do. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do 110%. I'm not just going to do it. So it was just one of those things. That's one. Two, it was therapeutic. So there's a lot of things with this sport. And my father is a football fanatic. So,
right.
A part of it was also to, you want to make your parents proud. You want to honor them. And if I was given these opportunities that, where I'm from, how many people have this opportunity? You get, so exploit it, do it. Now, back then, which sounds like it's a very long time ago, but soccer or football in the US was not what it is today. I don't know that 10 years ago, if you had the World Cup in the US, if many people would even care, because it just was not what it is today, right? And so those were the early days. So it was not paying like people think, and then on top of that, cost of living. So even if I say, hey, I'm getting paid X $1,000, well, ask anybody that lives in Los Angeles. $100,000 in Los Angeles is not a lot.
Right.
It really isn't. And so what we were getting paid compared to, cost of living, yes, you're playing football. I mean, if you're getting paid any amount of money really to play football, hey, I'm grateful. But I'm finishing university. I'm looking at starting a life, a family. And I was just measuring and weighing, some of these things. And then the long-term viability of it. It's very political, professional sports are. It's not just the talent. There's a lot of other factors involved. So I was just looking at it holistically. Now, at that time, too, I learned something very, very valuable. At that time, David Beckham was at Galaxy. And so one of the things I always thought about was like, okay, he's getting paid that much. I'm getting paid this much. Now, by no means am I saying I have lived the career of David Beckham, but I learned some very key things about marketing, right? He was making a lot of money because of his marketing power.
Yes.
You get, and I was really, really into marketing and understanding marketing and advertising and sales. And so I understood that most of his money is not necessarily for his performance on the field. It's for the number of fans he brings to the stadium.
Right.
So that got me thinking differently as well. It's not just you can play, how marketable are you and how can you diversify your revenue streams?
Yes.
You get. And so, but yeah, long story short, there's the political side, there's all these other things. I did have the opportunity to go overseas and go to other countries. But at that time, I don't know, I just felt like, I've done it. Nobody can take it away from me.
True.
I can say at least I've done this. And for me, that was enough satisfaction. I didn't necessarily need to be in the World Cup to feel like I have done well as a footballer. I'm good. And, it has been validated. That's kind of how I felt. I felt I'm already validated. I've played for a long time. And I just wanted to kind of move on into a different career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agriculture. You chose agriculture. Tell us. Go on. Explain that.
Well, as you know, in the North, agriculture is life. It feeds you, it sustains you. That's what we know. So it's always been just there. It's never really been something that I really, at least growing up, really like sat down and think about we're doing agriculture versus something else. What we farm is what we eat, and what we sell. And so, and agriculture, we see it all day, every day as business. We see agribusinesses all the time. When you go to the market, you buy your tomatoes, you buy your corn, all those things, we see them, but we perhaps don't think about them at scale. We see the Dangotes, we see the Bua Foods, and other companies of that nature, and perhaps the disconnect between rural to scaling industrial is it can be a big gap. So what really sparked me on this road, agriculture, initially, if I would just take a step back, initially it really was just about import and export, right? And so while I was at Galaxy and shortly before that, I was already doing marketing. And the first thing I did actually as far as business was I was in the apparel industry. I took brands, I got distribution contracts from US brands to sell their products in Africa. So I had exclusive distribution agreements to sell certain products from the US to Africa. That's how it started. Now, that failed. I would take it back home, you try to sell it, you import it, the price points were not the same. The price points were a bit higher. And then I tried to do e-commerce. You're talking 2010, 2011. So I had built an e-commerce store and I ran into some other challenges, such as people couldn't pay. How are you going to collect the money? Right? Mm-hmm. So that got me into thinking about payment gateways. And I went as far as going to Silicon Valley. I went to PayPal. I went, just trying to find certain solutions. So that first venture failed. And that was export from the US, imports into Nigeria. And so after that failure, that's when I took a step back to start looking at,
Shalom,
what else am I going to do?
Sorry, I won't call it failure. I would call it experience. After that experience, you took a step back and then carry on for us, please.
Yes. That experience was something. It really did. It taught me. It taught me things that were invaluable. Right? It taught me things that were invaluable. Yeah, it was very invaluable. And let me say, failure is an essential part of success. And so, for example, if I'll just take a quick step back, I told you I went to open tryouts. I didn't tell you how many I went to.
Exactly.
I don't know if I did 1,000 of them before. So, but it is experience that you cannot pay for, right? And that really started, that whole experience taught me a number of things about distribution, about imports and exports. And from then on, let me also say in context, which I'm still grateful for today, my father's still alive to this day, and I'm grateful to God. Right? This is over 20 years ago. And one of the things that my father has always had this hobby of importing cars. I'm talking 90s, early 90s, long time ago. Right. Before now, everybody imports in Nigeria, but long before that, this was always a hobby of his. And so I started helping when I came back from Nigeria. So learning more about the import-export process. Even before I chose agriculture, I was already practicing the process of logistics of back and forth. And the product changed, but the process was still the same, right? Whether it was apparel or it was cars, I just wanted to find the right product that I can take back and forth between Nigeria and the US, because these are the two worlds I know at this point, right? And these are the two places I have very strong networks. So this was where I was going to, put my attention. Now, the aha moment for me, as far as getting into agriculture, was I went to a gathering, a friend's gathering, a potluck, right? We all bring different things. And someone brought this drink. Amongst other things, they brought this drink. It's a red drink. We all try it. I tasted it. I said, "This is Zobo."
Yes.
So I immediately asked, I was like, "How'd you make this?" And she told me, "Well, I buy these flowers, I buy this, I go to the..." So she told me the flowers. I was like, "Okay, hibiscus flower." She said, "Well, we call it Jamaica, Flor de Jamaica." So I told her, "Where did you buy it?" And she told me the store. It was a Mexican supermarket. There's a big chain of Mexican supermarkets here that I knew of. So I went to the store and I bought it. Okay, I went to the store and I bought it. I was like, "This is just Zobo." And she told me how she made it. So I was like, "Okay, we call it Zobo, you call it Agua de Jamaica. Clearly, it's the same thing."
Right.
That was the spark. I went down this rabbit hole of going to the store where she bought it. I called the store, and when I went into the store, I would even talk to the manager, the store manager. "Hey, how did you guys get this?" "Well, we get it from our distributor." "Okay, can I get in contact with your distributor?" Got a lot of no's, but eventually, I got a yes, and I just did a lot of research online and started calling stores, and I started researching who's importing this. And I discovered that it was a lot of Hispanic companies. So I would call these companies, and most of them were in Mexico.
Right.
So I would call them, and they're speaking Spanish, and my Spanish at the time was very, very limited. But whatever it was, I figured out a way to just get an email or something so I can at least communicate somehow. I might not be able to speak, but at least I can send you an email, maybe translate that email in Spanish, something. And that was what really started this rabbit hole for me, was that experience at that potluck. Once I tasted it and I realized, okay, these flowers, they're getting it somewhere. Maybe they're farming it in Mexico, but I, through my research, discovered that these containers were coming from Nigeria to Mexico.
Mexico.
And then from Mexico into the US.
Wow.
And that's really what started this rabbit hole. That's how I knew. I was like, okay, I think I have something. I think I have a product.
And boom, where did you head up to?
Oh, all right. So from there,
So,
I'm calling, and I called this one distributor. Still a good guy, Sergio. Still a friend of mine to today. So I call this distributor that's local to where I was. I was in California at the time, and so I called this Hispanic distributor, and he's like, well, he speaks great English, So he's talking to me. He's like, hey man, if you say I think at first I was like, hey, I have like, at the time I already knew the quantity of Zobo that goes into a container. So I told him, hey, I have like X amount of tons or pounds of hibiscus. I want to see if you want to buy. He's like, hey man, look, I get these calls all the time from you Nigerians, and look, if you're serious, don't waste my time. He was kind of vulgar. We never met in person. He was on the phone.
right.
Pleasant guy, but he has his way of talking. And he was quite vulgar, but I got his point. His point was just like, hey, don't waste my time. I don't have time for this. He's like, and by the way, I don't even buy that much. But if you are who you say you are and you're serious about it, go to Mexico. Besides that, don't waste my time. So I was like, okay. You know what I did next?
Tell me.
I bought a one-way ticket to Mexico. And he said, his last words were, if you make it to Mexico, I'll connect you with the right people.
Wow.
Then you can call me. I landed in Mexico. I promise you, the first phone call I made, I called him.
To him.
And I said, I'm at the airport. At this point, I don't have a place to stay.
Right.
None of that.
No.
I called him from the airport. I said, Sergio, I'm in Mexico right now. And he went quiet for a second. And he was like, are you serious? I was like, look, I mean, I can video call you or send you a video, but I'm at the airport right now. So you can hear the background, it's all in. I was like, I'm at the airport right now, so are you going to keep your promise? Are you going to keep your word? He said, okay. He sent me a number to a lady right away. And yeah, that really, really started what is today the business I'm in. And that kind of evolved into a number of relationships, understanding how industries started working. And there were some very interesting things about that time, because right around that time, I went to Mexico, started making my connections. I got connected by Sergio, who is now our rep in Mexico. And it was a lady, and she met with me, and we met in this city called Polanco. It's in Mexico City. And we had coffee, and we talked, and we discussed. And next thing you know, we started discovering a few things, but one very important thing happened during that time. What happened was Mexico banned Nigerian hibiscus.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. And that was a huge blow, because that trip to Mexico and that time we went to what you call the Central de Abastos. And that's just like your central market, right? That's where all the major buying is done in volumes. It's kind of like Dawaki market in Kano, right? It's commercial, it's all that. So we went to Central de Abastos, sat down with a couple of people, and did lock in orders. We actually locked in some orders, but now you have this ban. And so from there, we went to the Nigerian embassy. He met with the ambassador. He's like, well, there's this ban. It actually is causing a lot of problems. So we really discovered that, there was a lot of things going on with this ban, because hibiscus is a major import for them. It's a key product, and Nigeria is a key source. So this was a real problem. And I just happened to be in the middle of it at this point, because the ambassador there were some things that had happened with Nigerian, importers or exporters that were sending products to Mexico, the hibiscus, and they had some issues there, and that's why the ban had come into place. So now I'm getting information firsthand. I'm even almost the one giving the ambassador information because I'm going into the market.
Yeah,
I'm talking firsthand, and then I'm coming back and reporting with the ambassador. And so somehow I kind of ended up being the negotiator between Mexico and Nigeria. And I would literally meet with the ambassador, meet with the buyers in Mexico, fly back to Nigeria, meet with NEPC, meet with this department, NAQS. And now I just became this...
the bridge.
Yeah, I was literally the bridge. And I'm trying to negotiate the terms of the removal of this ban. Now, I didn't do it because I don't have any political engine. For me, it was just, I have this order. I have a large order I'm trying to fulfill. So removing this ban is essential to me because I literally have over $1 million contract.
Right.
Right? So my interest was simply...
my money.
Financial. It's business.
Absolutely.
But I didn't really understand, and maybe that's a good thing now. I didn't really understand the power of that moment. Being in it, you don't see it. Now looking back, it's obviously one. I have a lot of relationships in the industry with every major player in this space, and it also allowed other people to get to know me because the biggest exporters in Nigeria at that time, especially for Zoho, I just came out of nowhere. They didn't know me before. Now all of a sudden, I'm the guy that's,
you go to everybody
in Mexico. Yes,
looking for.
I'm the one scheduling meetings between, Nigerian government officials and Mexican, all these things, and so it kind of threw me in that mix and allowed other people to get to know me, allowed me to get to know other people. And these connections are very, very important now, in this business or in this industry overall. But it sort of threw me in the mix. And and really that's how the whole thing started. And eventually what happened was, because of that ban and a whole lot of other things that happened with that in Nigeria, which I would do well after. But Nigeria is a very, very special place. There's a lot of interest and a lot of this, a lot of that. And long story short, that actually was why I started now importing to the US instead of to Mexico.
Yes, because there's a market as well in the US.
Exactly. And so
that was the birth of AFRIVANA.
Correct.
What's the meaning of AFRIVANA? Why did you choose that name? What thoughts went into it?
Well, I'm not the only founder of AFRIVANA. I have a co-founder who I went to college with, and we were just exploring names. We were in Santa Monica in Los Angeles, and we were just exploring what do we want to call it. And one of the things, we came up with a long list of different names. So just like one of them was African Nirvana. And we just put it together. And that was it.
Tell the audience what AFRIVANA does. Tell them what you need from the audience to participate, to grow the business even more, to bridge the gap even more, to bring more Nigerians in diaspora into awareness and how they can hook up with AFRIVANA, Europe, the UK, Asia. It's a big world out there. Talk to the audience.
Yeah, so AFRIVANA, I'll give you kind of the three core things we do. We do sourcing, we do logistics, and we do distribution. Those are the three core things that we do. And let me just briefly break it down what those are. Sourcing is simply, I'm looking for this product. If it's a product on the African continent, right, we take pride in being able to source it. So if you come to me and say, hey, I need, you know, I need moringa powder, right? Or I need whatever. As long as it's an agricultural product and you can find it in the African continent, we generally take pride in sourcing those products. And not just sourcing any product, but it's also about sourcing the quality of product that the client wants. So sourcing is one aspect of what we do. We help source products for companies. You know, companies come to us and just say, hey, I'm looking for, you know, chamomile, or I'm looking for peppers, or I'm looking for coconuts. And, you know, they come to us for that. So that's one service we provide, sourcing. Logistics, which is the next part, which sometimes goes hand in hand with sourcing. So a lot of times I'll give you a lot of our clients in the US, they're looking for not just find the product for me. I need you to find the product and deliver it to my warehouse here in Texas or in Los Angeles, or etc. So sourcing it is one thing. Now, if I source it in Zamfara, right? And I'm like, well, I've sourced it, here it is. They don't want to deal with figuring out how to get it to the ports in Nigeria, in Lagos, or in Port Harcourt, and doing all of that. And, you know, a lot of these people they've been in these industries for decades.
Right.
And so they know the challenges of navigating Nigeria, you know, and also things like rejections or port holdups, all of that. So long story short, they're not just looking for sourcing, they're looking for the logistics service of delivering it all the way to their warehouses in the US, in Europe, wherever. So that is something we provide. So we find the product, we package it, we put them in the containers, we ship them out, they come into the country, we do all the import process and customs clearance, we do the transportation all the way to their warehouses. And these are services we provide to our clients. Now, that's just the logistics part. It's just really export logistics, right? Is port operations, customs clearance, HS codes, FDA regulations, all of that stuff. So we do all that. Then you have distribution. Distribution really is, you have products in Nigeria and companies that have brands, and maybe people in your audience that are listening who they want to sell their products in America, in the UK, right? It could be egusi, it could be gari, it could be fish, it could be yaji, it could be whatever. But they want to sell to make US dollars. That's what most people want in Nigeria. That's why they want to export. Now, distribution is a combination of things. Distribution, you have the marketing side of distribution, and you actually have the logistics side of distribution. So when we say distribution, it's really about getting your product in front of buyers, right? And that process involves the storage, the fulfillment. So meaning, if a customer orders a box of Zobo today, I need to make sure it's delivered to their house or to their store or to their restaurant or wherever. And that entire process is the fulfillment process, which requires getting it there. But there's also the part of, you bring a product, people need to know that product is available here in the US. So there's that marketing, advertising side to the distribution, where I think we get, a lot more requests for distribution from so many different countries now in Africa, not just Nigeria. But speaking of Nigeria, it's a lot of brands. We have a process where we get these supplier applications on a weekly basis, and from tea companies to cassava to you name it, to fertilize everything. And so then we look at those, and the distribution they want is really bring my product in and sell it for me. That's really what most people want. They want us to sell their products. And so that's the distribution part. And there's different aspects to that distribution tree, it depends on what type of product it is, how it's packaged, and all of that. And so that's really the three core things that we can really break down into a lot more detail. But overall, what we really do is we're able to take products from Africa and bring them to America or to other countries, but our core focus has been North and South America, and we're able to sell them in bulk quantities, and yes.
Let me ask, Shalom.
Yeah.
These products, they have to be certified. You mentioned the FDA. There's a NAFDAC in Nigeria. The products you bring from Nigeria, you're just using Nigeria as a standard now. Will they have to be NAFDAC certified, or is there, if the product is good enough to go through the FDA, you don't mind that at all, or how would that work?
That's a great question. So I'm going to say something that perhaps most people don't hear as much. But the truth is that most of my buyers don't care about who NAFDAC is, don't know who NAFDAC is, and frankly, NAFDAC is not the certification they're looking for, right? I've never been asked for a NAFDAC number to sell to any of my customers.
Right, you are.
So now it depends on the type of product and how it's packaged.
Right.
Now, I will say, NAFDAC is still important to me because as I'm vetting through your product, if you have a NAFDAC number and you've been certified by NAFDAC, I know that there's a certain standard to your processing process.
Yep.
That has at least been taken out of the way for me as far as vetting and doing due diligence. Right. So having a NAFDAC number shows me the certain steps you've already taken, and it eliminates and helps me check off a box as far as the quality of where you're packaging these products, how you're processing it, I know has already been vetted or pre-vetted, right? So it's important to look at that from that side. But NAFDAC is most important in Nigeria, not necessarily in places like the US.
Right.
But for someone like us who are doing the export process, we do want to know certain things are in place. So I'm not just taking pride, it could be this standard today, tomorrow it'll be another standard. And the reality is, one of the major problems in Nigeria is standards. Because believe me, the thing with exporting, which most people want to do now from Nigeria, everybody sees the nice side. Everybody's thinking about the money they're going to make, the dollars they're going to make. But they're not thinking about the other side, right? They're not thinking so much about the risks. They're looking at the rewards, but not the risks. People who have been in this industry for a long time know what I'm talking about when I say, when you buy a bag of sesame seeds and you have one experience where half of that bag is sand.
Oh, wow.
Then you start to understand, this could be a major problem. Or, for example, when you find stones or you find some of those other things inside your thing that you just ordered. One of those bags can be the reason why your entire shipment is rejected.
Wow. And that costs money.
And that's very costly, right? So there are certain things as far as standards that I want to see or know before I say, okay, this is a reputable manufacturer or processor that I want to deal with.
The reason I'm asking, the new Nigerian has actually facilitated people in diaspora opening farms up in Nigeria, creating products. I have someone who created the black soup, sent me samples here. I gave it to we tried Tesco's or Sainsbury's, people who deal with those companies. The black soup, they said, had medicinal purposes. That's the one they really fancied. But obviously, the producer in Nigeria doesn't have enough to follow up, if you know what I mean. And then there's another lady who distributes the ofada rice, the plantains, all those kind of things. It's a big farm, I'll be interested, based on what we do, bridging the gap, introducing them to you, seeing if there's synergy there, to see how they can grow. Once we finish the podcast, I'll obviously share more information with you. That's why I'm asking, because this is an opportunity again to fulfill the new Nigerian purpose, which is to bridge the gap between diaspora and Nigeria.
Yeah, and I love that. And so along those lines, and I think that's actually a perfect setup here, because, you know, like I told you, this is we get these weekly, right? We get these weekly requests, and even on top of that, you know, companies like Fidelity Bank have these events that they've done in the UK and in the US, where they bring in some of these exporters or people who are interested, like who you're referring to sell more of their products overseas. And so through that process and over the years, it has been an overwhelming number of requests, right? And if I will just take a step back to kind of set up this scenario, but let me just say it first. One, we do have a certain process and programs that we developed in the past and are also refining currently for people like the company you're referring to, where we give them a lot of information, insight, and support, right, as far as what it actually takes to get into these markets. But to back it up, around the pandemic time, when a lot of things were shut down, I started just sharing, and even before then, on my personal pages, I've always just kind of shared the process. So whether it's from the farm to the containers to delivering to customers. And so I've been very transparent, and that has brought a lot of traffic as far as people who are saying, hey, I have this product, I want to sell it, I want to sell this, I want to sell that. And so I've given a lot of information, and over the pandemic, I had this group called Agriculture in Africa, where I would just share this information weekly and just answer questions, give out information, etc. And so that's been very helpful to people. And so now we're starting to do more of that. And as a matter of fact, over the next few months, I have a program called the Export Mastery, where it's just a more packaged, what I was doing before as far as giving out the information online. But now, you know, you have a book and you have really a module and a curriculum to be able to really guide someone to say from point A to point Z, here's the process, here is what you need to do. But to that also created other products within our business. We started providing certain services. So for example, something like customs clearance, right? Yeah, you can get any customs agent anywhere to clear some of these things, but those are some of the services. Then you have other services such as, you know, just market insights. And I'll give you an example. We have a customer that does really, really well in the Nigerian market. Manufactures a great product, sells in almost every state in Nigeria, fantastic product. Now they want to come into the US market. Contacted us, sent us one pallet, right? Started off with that one pallet, and we used that one pallet to kind of discover, one, is there a market for your product? That's the first thing. Because we are not your buyer. And that's something I want to be very clear. Because most times what happens is everybody's coming to us and saying, will you buy my product? Well, I'm doing the same thing you're trying to do. Me too, I'm getting product from Nigeria and just find my buyer in America, right? So I'm not the customer. You want a customer, fine. But long story short, you know, we started off that way. They brought in a pallet. They sent us a pallet. We used that pallet to discover, is there a demand, first of all? And then also getting feedback from customers as far as like how they want it. Some customers want it in bulk and some want it in retail packages, right? So what does that look like? Bulk, very easy. How much is it per pound? How many are in box? What's all of that? But with retail, which a lot of people, especially they reach out to us, a lot of people have a retail product. It's a packaged product that they want to sell. Well, we helped this customer. The size that they were selling in Nigeria is great for Nigeria. But in the American market, it wasn't doing as well. So we had to give market intelligence and market insight and expertise on repackaging and redesigning same product. We're not changing the product, but we helped facilitate and change all those things. So it's a better fit for the US market. It's easier to sell that way for the US market. And, one major thing that a lot of brands struggle with, come from Nigeria, is this packaging part. And I'm not just talking about packaging something properly where it's sealed. I'm talking about packaging and branding. The US is a visual market. It needs to look good visually first. So if you're just doing it anyhow, just like you're doing in Nigeria market, or you want to sell granules, peanuts, but you're putting it in bottle and you think you're going to sell that here in the US, it's not going to work. Okay. It might be it might be the best product in the world, right? For example, our ginger is one of the best in the world. That's a proven fact scientifically, because we've brought it in, we've done the data analysis, we've done all these things. But how you package it matters. So I'll use hibiscus, which is a product that I've done for long. The way we get hibiscus in Nigeria, inside a sack, right? I bring that sack to the US, and let's just say, for purpose of conversation, if I can sell that sack of Zobo for $100 inside the sack, one, the visual appearance, right, doesn't do the quality of the product justice. So if I take a sack to a store and say I'm trying to sell this, the immediate thing they're going to think in their mind is this is a poor quality product. One, they have stereotypes about products coming from Africa. Two, they are looking at the packaging. This must not be a great product if it's coming in this sack. Now, I take that same sack, okay, and I repackage it. I put it in a nice bag and I put it in a box. Still bulk, still the same weight, let's say 25 kg. I put it on a nice box and I put a simple label on it, right? I can sell it for at least twice as much.
Right.
I didn't do anything except the only value addition I did was to put it in a bag and put it in a box.
Yes.
That was the value addition.
But
right? It wasn't
that's work as well, Shalom.
It is, right?
But I'm just saying, intelligent work.
Yeah, it's not a rocket science thing, right? But it's just an example.
You might think so.
Right, to me, right?
Yeah.
So that's just an example of, you have to have market intelligence, right? That's one. There's also what I call cultural nuances, right? Now, I've sold product in the UK, right? Tesco's, Waitrose, I've sold product in the UK.
Right.
Sold product in the US, sold product in Africa. Cultural nuances, meaning that the way you sell to a US customer or a US buyer is not the same as you sell to a Nigerian buyer or a UK buyer. So understanding those cultural nuances, my advantage has been that I went to school here, I spent some time here, I got to understand the culture and the mentality of people. I understand Hispanic culture very well, so I knew certain things and used that to my advantage when selling, right? So there are these nuances and things that go beyond just, I have a good product, it's packaged, and I've shipped it, right? There's a lot more to it that, branding is super important to the US market, besides just the quality.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Those events you mentioned, those branding things, if you send them to us, we can put them on the screen so that our listeners can view and register and participate, if you get what I mean. So after the podcast, you can send those things over. When we edit, we know the venue, we know the date, we know the time. We send the link out and they'll be able to, who wants to key in, can key in immediately. Let me quickly let my audience know. Shalom is the Hibiscus King. He has, again, over 15 years of experience in international trade, logistics, branding, and market development. His products include ginger and spices, specialty coffee and tea, cocoa and premium chocolate, cashew nuts and tree tops, fresh produce and avocado. There's so much more to learn from Shalom. one of his main visions is to help position Africa not just only as a source of raw material. He wants to build strategic trade, logistic, and investment bridges between Africa and the Americas. So, audience, take note. Recognize his expertise. Let's make or take advantage of someone who is positioned in diaspora to help bridge that gap. His passion for sustainable business practices and corporate social responsibilities have also made him a respected voice in the industry. Like he said, he does webinars, he gives away free support, he gives away free information to help the growth of our young agricultural entrepreneurs. It's 1 hour already, Shalom. We can go on and on and on and on. However, we must pause for a part 2. Let's hope that the audience appreciate and enjoy the conversation we've just had. Learn from it. Visit the webinar or visit the link to listen more in depth to you or your associates to improve themselves and to importantly bridge the gap. To the audience, as usual, click on our YouTube link, like, share, listen, and learn. The value of what we do is why we do what we do. We may not gain recognition for it, we may not make money from it, but if it helps to improve any individual who is listening, then we have succeeded in what we wanted or what we want to achieve. Any last information to the audience before we let them go?
Yeah, I mean, like you said a lot. One, I appreciate you for having me on here. It's been very pleasant. An easy way to get most of this information is the hibiscusking.com. We created that platform so people can, go get all the information they need. And like I said, I've given out tons of information. It's easy to get nowadays. You can give that away. So the hibiscusking.com is where they can get a whole lot of information or reach out and kind of see what we have in line. And we're going to be releasing a lot more on there just to help other exporters or people who are interested in agribusiness as a whole. And yeah, that's what we do. That's part of what I do, and happy to be here and happy to share.
The hibiscusking.com. Don't forget that.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.